Miami Hurricanes have added so many offensive pieces heading into the 2023 season, but which of them will be the most impactful?
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Saturday. I'm Alex Donno. Thank you so much to the Everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. And I come with friends today. You know, we love to do this on Saturdays. Well, we can get Hoodie Girl and Chalupa Batman all in the same room with us here on Locked On Canes. We pop those display names up so everyone can see them on YouTube. Hoodie Girl, hello to you first. How you been?
What's up, Donno? I'm liking this usual Saturday afternoon routine. Get up a little late after work, have some Chick-fil-A, hang out with my buds, CB and Donno. I love it. I love it. Cheers.
I got to get on that weekly Saturday Chick-fil-A tip. Obviously, I can't do the weekly Sunday, but I'll try to get on the weekly Saturday. Chalupa Batman, how you been, sir?
I'm doing great, man. We got to commit this week. We're on commit watch all weekend. It's a great day to be a Cane.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe we're less than 2 months away from the 2023 season actually starting. Like, it's crazy. Like, it feels like a long off season, but now it's like we're getting so close, and we're less than a month away from fall camp, so time is flying. And I'm looking forward to hopefully watching a much different offense from the one we watched last year under Josh Gaddis. And the personnel didn't look as good last year as it looks this year. 86 in the country, I believe, in total offense last year. 19.4 points per game. Yeah, 86 was correct. And that, I don't know, it felt even worse. Like, honestly, it felt like, I was looking at first in the 100s. I'm like, where was Miami? Like 86 in total offense, not good. 19.4 points per game. But then, folks, I look at some of the players that Miami has added in the transfer portal and some notable true freshmen who I think could get some burn year one. Let me throw out some of the names, and then I want to talk about which of these players is going to be most impactful this year. And I'd like to hear from you guys as well. You want to leave us a comment, you can tweet me at Locked On Canes. You can leave us a YouTube comment if you're watching that way. Miami has added players like center Matt Lee, who's going to start. Guard Javion Cohen, he's going to start. Tackle Francis Mauigoa, Maui Noah, if I want to say his name properly, the true freshman tackle who may start at right tackle. The pancake honcho, tackle Samson Okunlola, tight end Cam McCormick, who's like 35 years old, tight end Riley Williams and Jackson Carver, wide receiver Shemar Kir in the portal, Tyler Harrell in the portal, Ray Joseph and Robbie Washington, true freshmen. Miami's added running backs, Ajay Allen transferring from Nebraska, Mark Fletcher, true freshman, Chris Johnson, true freshman. So, Chalupa, let me start with you down below. And maybe you're thinking of another player I didn't even mention. Offensive newcomers. Which of these players is going to be most impactful in 2023?
For me, I'm going to go with a running back. I'm going to go with the transfer running back that came in from Nebraska. I'm going to go with Ajay Allen. He's still got 4 years of eligibility left. We know we needed a little bit of depth in the backfield, right? We need a little bit more time for Citizen to rest and recoup. So we were all a little bit worried, are we going to put too much on Parrish and Chaney early? Chaney, who we know we want to keep healthy for the full year. In walks in Ajay Allen, 5'11", 185, runs behind his pads really well. He's quick, and he's got the burst in the open field. Complete back. I think he'll do really well in this offense. And he's got that nose for the end zone when he's in the red zone. He's one of those backs that you give him the ball in space too, and he can create. So I think he'll do well out the backfield. I think he's a bit slept on, but I think he's going to be a huge impact player for us this year because that also allows us to bring Chris Johnson and Mark Fletcher along slower. We don't have to rush the true freshmen on the field because we have guys that can take snaps and make an impact. He's not just a body filling out a role. I mean, he did only play 4 games last year, 5 games because of the collarbone injury, but he was averaging 5 yards a carry at the time. If you put on his tape, you see he's got the skills, and I think he fits the offense really well. He runs really well between the tackles and on the outside, and we know we got beef up in the middle now. So I think he's going to be a fantastic addition. What do you guys think?
Hoodie Girl, what do you think? Who's going to be the most impactful offensive addition this year?
You know, I'm going to put an audible because CB went running back, and I think Donno's gonna go O-line, which I think the O-line guys are gonna be a big thing. But I'm gonna change what I was originally gonna say. I'm gonna say Tyler Harrell.
I like it.
I think if he stays healthy, his athleticism, his speed, having that, like, I mean, you can kind of play him everywhere. Like, he can be the long ball guy. You can put him in the slot because he's fast and athletic. I think he's just, if he stays healthy, I think he'll be like a great, I know X is kind of the security blanket, but I think he's going to be another guy that TVD kind of develops a relationship with, like, early on, and kind of becomes another security blanket. And I just like the idea of having him and like Colby Young just running like deep posts, whatever. And I just think he's so athletic. I'm going to go with wide receiver because CB said running back, and then Donno probably is going to go O-line, knowing him in the trenches. So I'm going to go with Tyler. Plus, if anybody watches Coop's simulation games when he's playing, I always say run the slant to Tyler. So it's kind of been my thing. So smart. I'm gonna go Tyler Harrell. I was super excited when we added him, and if he stays healthy, I think he could have a big year. So.
You know me so well, by the way, because I'm definitely going trenches. And so the only difficult decision for me was which of the new offensive linemen do I pick? Like that was like, I didn't even like wide receiver, whatever, running back, tight end. I got to go in the trenches, but I'm going to go with Matt Lee, the transfer center. Ooh. And he doesn't come in quite as highly touted as Javion Cohen, the guard from Bama, and Cohen may end up getting drafted higher than Lee and being a better NFL player. But I just look at Matt Lee, the connection that I'm seeing him build with Tyler Van Dyke, the importance of that quarterback center exchange and that relationship and all the nonverbal communication that comes with it. And just the fact that this dude has, obviously, we haven't actually seen him go through the wars in Miami. We were seeing him do that in UCF, but had a chance to talk with Lee a couple of times. And the hard work and the dedication and the grind that this guy is willing to put himself through to try and, leave that 1-year legacy in Miami. I really think Matt Lee is going to make a huge, huge difference. And I love everything you guys said about Ajay Allen and about Tyler Harrell, but it's like I got to keep Tyler Van Dyke upright, got to keep him healthy, got to keep those chains moving. So I'm going to go with Matt Lee, and I don't mean any disrespect to Javion Cohen, and I don't mean any disrespect to Francis Mauigoa, but to me, Lee, there's something extra special about him, Melissa.
100%.
I completely agree. That's who I was going to say, but I had a feeling you were probably going to say him. But having that center and the exchange with the center QB exchange and the fact that even from what you're hearing from like summer camp and stuff, how he's already emerged as like a leader within the locker room and stuff. I was going to say him. He was the other guy, but I was like, CB went running back. Donno's probably going to go offensive line. I'm like, let me pick somewhere else. That way we get a whole nice range. But I'm a huge
and he's he's gonna show up in ways that won't show up on a stat sheet either. He'll be able to help TVD with blitz pickups, with protection calls. There's a lot of young guys around him on the offensive line. Yes, Cohen has experience, but we're gonna have Cooper up there. We'll have because Samson Okulola may be the swing tackle. There's gonna be times when him and Mauigoa is going to be out there. A guy like Matt Lee making sure everyone's in the right spot, understands their assignment, and understands what they're seeing from a defensive line perspective. I think that's going to be huge. He's going to be a second quarterback out there.
And I think a well-oiled machine.
And to what you were just saying about not everything showing up on the stat sheet, I was thinking the same thing about Tyler Harrell. That even if, because I think in his most prolific college season, I think he only had like 18 catches, something like that in his big year at Louisville. Obviously, the yards per catch was very high because he's catching deep balls, but he's not going to be like a 5, 7, 8, 10 catch per game type of guy. But his speed threat and the way he's going to take the top off of defenses, Harrell, I think is going to make the rest of the offense more wide open, and you may not even realize 100%. When you're watching it that it's because Tyler Harrell's on the field.
You'll see Restrepo have
10 catches.
Yeah, well, they won't be able to stack the box. Imagine having Tyler Harrell on one side and Colby Young on one other side. You have X running the slot, and you got like Mark Fletcher or Don Chaney or Henry Parrish in the backfield. You got to pick which weapon are you going to cover. Hopefully we're going to have to keep them honest, and it's going to keep both both running and the air game going strong. And then with the additions to our O-line, like Donno said, I think we could have a really, really good offensive season, assuming, again, that people stay healthy, which was the problem last season.
So there's one other player I want to give a shout out to when we come back, who I think could end up being an X factor, especially maybe in the second half of the season. And, are we drinking too much of our own Kool-Aid? Are we getting too high here? Because the offense was really bad last year. Can you turn it around this quickly? You want to keep it locked right here. We got Hoodie Girl in the house. We got Chalupa Batman in the house. We're only getting started here on this new episode of Locked On Canes. Guys, I've been having so much fun all season long, all over FanDuel. Get into Major League Baseball betting. Take your first swing at MLB at FanDuel and get 10 times your first bet in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from the money line to the over-under to who you think is going to get the first home run. And all of that on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you can get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet on all the MLB action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/LockedOnCollege to get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Sorry, did I say Locked On College? FanDuel.com/LockedOn is how you get in. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen today. To the everydayers, we are available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. Now, another name, and Chalupa, I'll start with you on this one, that, I threw out there among newcomers, and I know we all didn't want to throw out running backs, but I do feel pretty strongly about Miami's running back room. Mark Fletcher. I think this dude, he in a what looks like a deep running back room, if they can stay healthy, because Chaney has had injury issues. Trevante Citizen is coming off a serious injury. Henry Parrish played most of the year last year, but he was playing banged up for a lot of the year. Ajay Allen I like, but Mark Fletcher, that is a grown man. Like this guy, he's a grown man in an 18-year-old's body. So I feel like Chalupa at some point this season, and running back is not, he's got to pick up the blocking scheme and all that, but running back is not as high of a learning curve type position compared to some others. I think he could have an impact year one.
100%. I think the big learning curve that we look for running backs that when they transition to college is, can they take on the physicality of college football? Right. Will his body hold up? I don't think we have that concern with Mark Fletcher. I think the concern is, will the bodies of the linebackers that he hits, will they hold up?
You're not lying.
I like about Fletcher, he's a complete back, right? We all love his physicality. Mark put him on a stretcher, Fletcher. Yeah. But I think because of that, we forget that he has the burst. He has the breakaway speed in the open field. He has really good hands. He runs really good routes. He really is a complete 3-down back, and he's someone that I think Shannon Dawson is just going to have so much fun with, because you can use him in ways that I think you don't always think about when you think about Mark Fletcher. I say give it 4, 5, 6 games before we start seeing our true freshman star running back earn some more playing time. And I would imagine towards the end of the season, he will have fully inserted himself into the offense.
What do you think, Hoodie?
I agree. I agree. I almost said Mark Fletcher for the, who we thought was going to make the most impact, but then CB went running back. So I changed my mind, but I agree. And one, because of just the beast that he is and how talented he is, but also just the history of our room not staying healthy. Like, I don't think Trevante, I don't believe is even gonna be available to start the season. I'm hoping and praying Don Chaney stays healthy, because that dude's so talented and it's just had some bad luck the last few years. And then Henry Parrish has been our workhorse, but Mark Fletcher, man, he's gonna be special. I really hope that O-line isn't as improved as we think it is, and Van Dyke, develops some good relationship with receiver and opens up that passing game, because we have some really good threats in that running back room. And I think Mark Fletcher is going to be a workhorse for the next few years for us. And then wait till Chris Johnson, develops and becomes a part of the offense too, because his speed is unmatched. Yeah. You can't teach that speed. That dude is a bullet. Like those two coming in as freshmen, what a duo. I'm saying. I'm excited to see what they do. It's a really exciting running back room for sure.
Yeah, do we think Miami's offense is fixed for next year? I think they're going to be a lot better. I don't know if we're going to see them, go, I don't know, like vintage, like Pac-12 from one year to the next, putting up like 50, 60 points per game. But here, like I look at big issues from last year, and I can only assume that some of these issues are going to be solved, right? There was just complete discombobulation between the offensive coordinator and the quarterback's coaching and the quarterbacks, and now the OC and the quarterback's coach are the same person. So that's one thing. We talked about new additions to the offensive line. The O-line, it was embarrassing last year. Like, I know Alex Mirabal and Mario Cristobal, the pride that they take in offensive line coaching.
Oh, yeah.
Mirabal doesn't have any limbs right now.
Yeah, that's right. He promised to cut off all his limbs. I don't think he got a good night's sleep all of last season, Alex Mirabal, until he started landing the 5 stars in recruiting. That's when he started to sleep better at night. So the O-line, I think, is going to look a lot better. And, this one is obviously yet to be seen, but last year, the play calling from Josh Gaddis, it was not intuitive and it was not adaptive. Like, he didn't seem to really adapt his play calling to what the defenses were giving him. And I'm being kind when I say it that way. Okay.
Yes, you
are. Just quote the Maryland coach. Just quote the Maryland coach during their spring game, like watching paint dry.
Yeah. So I know I like Shannon Dawson's scheme better. Will I like his play calling better? That's yet to be seen, right? But I'm going to assume it can't be a lot worse than it was last season. So these are reasons why I think the offense is fixed, because I believe in Tyler Van Dyke. I do. And, I also believe that for a quarterback to succeed, they need to be in the right environment. He was in a better environment offensively 2 years ago. We saw what he was able to do as a true freshman. I believe he can get back to that, and as a junior can be even better than he was a couple of years ago. So I do think the offense is fixed. What about you, Melissa?
I won't say fixed until I see it on the field. I definitely think we're in a better position as far as people we've brought in, the development of some players, the scheme that Tyler's going to be in. He's got better people around him now as far as coaching is concerned, and OC that actually is going to work with the QB and have communication with the quarterback, and hopefully we're not seeing run, pass, punt every single game. But I think, and like you said earlier with Matt Lee, I think the development of our offensive line and guys that we brought in, I think Van Dyke's going to feel more comfortable in the pocket. If receivers and running backs stay healthy, I think by the end of next season we'll say like, oh, okay, the offense was fixed. We're on the right path.
What about you, Chalupa?
I agree with Melissa. It's hard to say fixed, but I would say they addressed why it was broken last year.
Yeah.
We still want to see rhythm and we want to see consistency, but a lot of our problems last year, I feel like they addressed. The offensive line just did not play well. They've addressed that. We had trouble not just going vertical. It felt like we got behind nobody last year. Tyler Harrell, Ray Joseph, Robbie Washington, Shemar Kir, problem addressed. We had some issues in the backfield last year with guys staying healthy. Mark Fletcher, Chris Johnson, Ajay Allen, problem addressed. And I think what we're going to see this year, too, is a more comfortable Tyler Van Dyke. When you hear Shannon Dawson talk, it's all about making his quarterbacks comfortable. We want to see him get the ball out of his hands quickly, and he has the weapons to do that now. I think we're going to be much improved. I think it'll take maybe 2 or 3 games for us to really see what the offense looks like. But I'm optimistic. I'm excited. The play calling can't be worse. It can't be. And we at least have options. Another problem last year is when they lined up in a set, we all knew what they were doing.
Yeah, 100%.
Everybody did. Look at all the weapons that we have now, the variety that Shannon Dawson has. He can have different personnel groupings, and he can actually kind of confuse defensive coordinators this year, whereas last year you knew what we were doing by our sets. I think they've addressed the problems from last year, and I think that will lead to the offense being fixed.
Well, so far we've only talked about the upcoming season 2023. I want to look a little bit farther into the future when we come back. Keep it locked right here to Locked On Canes. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch. Make sure if you want to take your everydayer experience to the next level, you subscribe to our exclusive SMS texting community through Subtext. You can stay up to date on everything going on, recruiting scoops, even though I've been too afraid to drop Donno balls the past week. took too many L's on 4th of July weekend, but I do one-on-ones with you guys on the subtext as well. We take Q&As through there. So I'm including a link in the show description below to join up our exclusive subtext SMS texting community. So I wanted to look a little bit farther into 2024 and beyond, because, Tyler Van Dyke probably won't be back in 2024. He'll probably be taking his talent, unless things just go really poorly this year, which we don't want. He'll probably be on to the NFL by the 2024 season. So do you think, and Chalupa, I'll start with you. Do you think the next Miami Hurricanes starting quarterback is on the roster right now in Jacurri Brown or Emory Williams? Or do you think, because there's been a lot of buzz about maybe next year dipping into the transfer portal, are you maybe so high on the ambassador Judd Anderson? You think he's going to come in, true freshman, and light it up?
Love Judd. Judd.
But do you think for 2024, is it Jacurri or Emory, or is it someone who's not even on the roster right now?
Who shall inherit the throne? I love Jacurri Brown. I like his skill set. I like his physicality. I like his athleticism. He has a cannon for an arm. It just needs to be reined in a little bit. When I look at him and what he can be in this offense, I get excited because of Clayton Tune. Clayton Tune was Shannon Dawson's last quarterback. Let me read this off for you. 6'3", 215. Jacurri, 6'4", 210. Tune is a dual threat quarterback. Jacurri is an elite athlete. Clayton Tune threw for 67% completion percentage last year, over 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 128 carries for 544 yards and 5 touchdowns. No disrespect to Clayton Tune, but on a scale from 1 to 10 as an athlete, he's probably a 5.
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to Tune.
Exactly. Imagine what Jacurri does in that offense, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't really supposed to play last year. Last year, he was supposed to sit and learn. He got thrown into the fire. He looked okay against Georgia Tech. He will have a full year with Coach Dawson, developing, learning, understanding the offense. Actually, he has a better shot at being successful right away in the offense than Tyler Van Dyke does. He'll get to see it for a full year, understand the concept, see where it goes wrong, where it goes right. I believe in Jacurri Brown. I also believe in Emory Williams, but I think Emory will need another year. I think you should hand the keys over to Brown next year if you're confident in him. Right. Obviously, the coaching staff knows that they see him every day. I do think you bring somebody in from the portal to compete, but I think the keys to the Ferrari go to number 11 next year.
I like it. What about you, Hoodie?
I completely agree with CB. I think if Jacurri can just get his accuracy down, he's such an athlete, and you even saw in the spring game, he has a cannon for an arm. He just needs to be a little bit more accurate. I think that comes in time with him getting comfortable with the offense, his receivers, the improved O-line having more time to throw and go through his progressions. And like CB said, he was not supposed to play last year. He got thrown into the fire. He's a true freshman who was supposed to be on the bench. Like, he was third string. Like, you assumed if TVD got injured, you'd bring in Jake. We were all hyped about our QB room. We thought we had one of the best QB rooms in the country.
Yeah, we did.
And it's just, and you know what? Honestly, Jake got thrown to the fire also because that offense was so terrible. He didn't have protection. He didn't really have time to get comfortable in the offense. And we basically chased him out. Honestly, I love Emory also. I think him being in the system for a year or two behind Jacurri and TVD, I think he's an eventual starter also. And if Dawson can do what he did with Clayton Tune, with our incoming quarterbacks and adapting to what their game is, I think Judd's going to be a beast too. The talent is there. It's just Emory and Judd are more raw. I think Jacurri is less raw than them, especially because he can use his legs to get away from things. If he can just work on his accuracy and throwing while he's using those legs, I think he's going to be a beast. And dare I say, he could be better than TVD.
I'm going to make it unanimous. Yeah. You know, this is not the way I drew it up. I was kind of hoping we'd have 3 different answers, but I agree. And I think Emory's time will come because he looked better in spring football as an early enrollee than I expected. Like he's got accuracy that you cannot teach, right? Whereas you're trying to teach Jacurri accuracy, but I think what he lacks in that department, he can make up for with his physicality, athleticism, and his mental makeup. I mean, honestly, going back to last year, like Chalupa said it, hit the nail on the head. He got thrown into the fire. He wasn't supposed to play at all last season.
At all.
Like it was not even. Well, except for the gimmicky stuff.
His
right?
four,
right. When he came in, when he came in short yardage, but he wasn't supposed to ever be like the regular 3-down quarterback.
No.
Right? He got thrown into the fire. And the way he commanded the huddle and the way I think he earned the respect of his teammates during that time, not easy for an 18-year-old who should be enjoying his red shirt and enjoying the co-eds out there, right? That's
Definitely
not what he should have been doing on Saturdays. So I think you've got a lot to build on there with Jacurri, not to mention in college football. I mean, it may be a little bit harder for him a few years down the road when he tries to make it the NFL, but in college football, you can compensate for a lot of the arm stuff just by being such an athlete. And he does have a strong arm. He's just got to harness that superpower, but he's got a very strong arm. So I think it'll be Jacurri in 2024. Then I think, assuming he's still there in 2025, he'll probably have some more competition from Emory and from Judd. But I think 2024 is his year.
And to that point about Emory, I think it'll still be a competition. Emory showed us that he didn't look like a true freshman. He looked like he'd been there before. And like we talked about earlier with Mark Fletcher, he has the physical frame. We're not worried if his body's going to stand up to the rigors of college football. Extremely accurate. He's got good footwork, and he wants it. When you listen to Malik Rozier talk about him, you can tell he wants it. Emory Williams will be a starting quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes, but I do think Brown's time comes first.
Yeah.
Emory's just very cerebral. Just listening to his interviews and how he discusses the game, he's a very, very smart kid. So I think he's going to pick up on this offense. I think he's going to pick up on this offense very, very quickly. And that's actually a really good comparison, CB. Baby Ken Dorsey. It's actually a great comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. All right, let me allow both you guys to plug everything you're working on. Chalupa, you take the floor, man. You're dominating Twitch now. I think you're doing an awesome job there, and you're part of the You Heard pod. Let people know where they can find you.
So you can find me on the You Heard pod every Monday and Thursday. We drop our episodes. Just started streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/ChalupaBatman9000. I couldn't get Chalupa Batman. The 9000 is a Dragon Ball reference for those of you guys that know.
Nice.
So we're actually doing a watch along tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're watching Miami versus Florida from 2003. So come hang out. It's the Brock Berlin game. Yes, we are watching it. We watched the no huddle version, so it's only about 50 minutes. Okay. So it skips all the nonsense. I don't want to keep people too long. Also, because Coop has a stream later that night, so I have to be there for that. So come hang out with me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Chalupa Batman, and obviously Saturdays, come see me on Locked On.
Go ahead, Hoodie.
So I'm doing the Buckets pod on Sixer and Canes. We don't really have a set day every week. It kind of changes in the off season just because I work nights and it's the whole thing. But we're either airing possibly Tuesday because Matt's throwing an audible, or Thursday. We got some good former players that we're lining up for some guest appearances in the next few weeks. And then catch me on Twitter and also Threads, same handle, the Cooler Mel B. I don't know if Threads is going to become a thing, but I'm there just in case. Same handle, easy to follow. And I'm always hanging around on here and on Coop's channel too. So me and Coop are going to be collabing on a hoodie design. So be on the lookout for that and his merch shop. Hopefully the beginning of football season. It's in discussion. We're throwing ideas at each other, but a Coop Hoodie Girl hoodie might make an appearance in the next few months.
That's fantastic.
I'm buying it.
Yeah,
me
too.
That.
Me too. All right, great stuff all around. And thank you guys so much for listening to and watching this episode. Thank you for making Locked On Canes your first listen each and every day. If you want to hit the thumbs up button, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. You're listening to the audio version, subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, Google, and leave us a 5-star review. I did get a new round of 5-star reviews. I'm going to shout them out. I don't know if I'm going to do an episode Sunday, maybe. If not, we'll shout them out on Monday's episode coming up. So thank you guys so much for the love. We will talk to you again next time on another episode of Locked On Canes, part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.